So Sabre, you follow Ren out. You find him heading upstairs. You can't immediately tell what kind of mood he's in, but probably not great. He just got some pretty bad news. And he is storming up the stairs toward, you don't actually know where he is going specifically, because he's staying in Kirkwall now. His bedroom proper is in Kirkwall.
Ren, where are you going?
He does not answer you. He makes another sharp right around the top of the stairs, and he continues heading up. Up here, is the rookery, Dorian's rookery, where he has all his messenger birds.
I sprint after him.
He eventually makes his way to the very top. He throws open the window, and he just, screams out the window, and, this stream of vitriol in Elven. He is so he's angry, he's heartbroken, he's pissed. He doesn't have a good thing to take it out on, because it's not anyone's fault. It's just horrible, and he doesn't know what to do about it. So he just screams for a while, and then he sort of collapses against the wall and just sits down.
I think I was just standing in the doorway, and, I come slightly in, and I say, well, that was impressive.
He says, fucking slave markings? That's what... They're slave... I chose Gillenheim because I wanted to be the Hala Keeper, not because...
I sit down heavily next to him. I don't know how to wrap my head around it either.
She called you slave. She looked at you and used my mouth to call you a rat.
Yeah. Aren't you glad you killed her the first time?
Apparently I didn't do a fucking good enough job.
Well, we'll have another chance, it seems.
He, doubles over and, runs his hands through his hair, and he's like, fuck.
I told Lennon. He had about the same reaction. There was more drinking, though.
That doesn't sound half bad.
Yeah. Honestly, it would be a good day to just take all of the elves out and get really horribly drunk.
He says, you know what? I get it now. I get why Lennon had his removed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard not to look at her and feel nothing but trapped by this. And I sort of, run my hand absently along my face. But... Ren, I told Landon this the other day, and I don't know if I mean it or not at this point, but this means more to me than some ancient tradition of slavery that I wasn't aware of. It means family.
He says, I chose which god I wanted to honor. I chose the design. I chose the marking. That's where the meaning comes from. He says he's not trying to convince you, he sounds like he's trying to convince himself. He says, meaning is not dragged out of some 1,000-year-old fey dream. Meaning is built with blood and sweat and tears. Meaning is chosen.
I'm a little starry-eyed. This is the big brother that I remember, and yes. Yes, you're absolutely right. It can be reclaimed, Ren. It can be for us, not for them.
Says Lithalon, it always was.
I grasp his shoulder. I'm tearing up.
Oh.
And I give him a huge hug.
The guard, that is stationed outside Respite until the Grey Wardens are able to send someone down. For a while, it's just Talgan and Fenris because they're the tanks and they're going to be able to do worse. But as soon as the final list of who is for sure going to Denerim is established, everyone else, except May, who's very sick, all the other key members of the Lucerni they set up shop in Respite to defend it, capital D defend it. Because these people are only there because of the Lucerni. They feel morally, ethically obligated to protect it as best they can. So that's Fenris, Dorian will definitely go. Zevran has to stay behind with Ren, so Zevran maybe not so much. But Leander, he will definitely go to help in the defense. And it's not great, but it's the best they can do. Under the circumstances, it's all they can do.
We don't know why they even were out there. Is it just like, it's just random chance because it's a blight and they could just show up anytime?
Go ahead and roll historical or cultural lore for me to see how well you know the answer to this question.
Damn it.
With an 8, all you know is that blights tend to concentrate in one area. Like, the first blight happened in the Anderfels. The 5th blight happened in Ferelden. But that said, if you leave a blight unchecked, it's going to destroy the world. Like, it'll start in one area, but unless someone does something, it'll just be a worldwide problem.
Who would know more about this? Severin would know more, right? He's dealt with a lot of darkspawn.
Ren would know most, probably.
I will ask Ren.
So the final list of people that you are taking to Ferelden is obviously the 3 player characters, and you are, it sounds like, taking Ren?
I guess.
Okay, you are taking Ren, and you are also taking Talgan.
Yes.
And Lannon is going as well. Again, he's like non-combat, because you need him there because he's the Inquisitor, not the Inquisitor. He will stand there and assist if he can. Pretty much the extent of his assistance. No more fighting. I learned that the hard way. He is too OP. You do not get to have the Inquisitor in your fighting party. So, the altogether 6 of you head through the Alluvion into Kirkwall. There is a boat that goes directly from Kirkwall to Denerim. Kirkwall being the city-state where Lennon's abode is, obviously, and Denerim being the capital of Ferelden. The boat ride to Denerim is a little bit tense. You did, like, Ren agreed to come. Like, you know, I can imagine the scene being, like, you know, the next morning, like, Yariel knocking on the door, like, "Hey, buddy, can we go to Denerim?" And Ren just sort of wordlessly standing up and being like, "Yes." And then, like,
yeah, fair.
It is a little tense. Like, obviously, the events of the previous day have fucked with Ren pretty significantly.
Yeah, fair
like,
enough.
He really thought he was in control of this thing, and clearly he's not as in control as he thought he was. But that said, he still wants to help. He still wants to see Alistair again. He still definitely wants to end this blight. So he's going. Have all of you gotten used to boat rides? You've been on quite a lot of them since joining the Lucerne. But then again, the Waking Sea is difficult to get used to.
I think I said before that I was, like, deeply seasick.
Yeah.
Not so much now?
I think I think I'm still, like, horribly queasy, but I'm not throwing up the entire time in the, like, bottom of the hole.
Yeah. I like to think that Cass got her sea legs.
I forget, honestly, if Elian was okay or not okay. I think he was kind of middling. So I feel like he's getting a little bit more used to it, though he does not like this. But, you know, Elian doesn't like a lot of things.
He is a very fussy little Orlesian boy, so. But yeah, he is present. He does have his bow with him still. And if you want to take it away from him, Yariel, you're going to have to be the one to do it.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Because his bow is Virtanadal, I believe is his name, which is it's Elven for the Way of the Hunt. It's his bow. He likes it a lot. It's made of sylvanwood. If you want him to not have it, you're going to have to roll pretty high persuasion.
I'm not going to try to actually take it away from him, because I'm not that stupid. Like, that's... I am pretty stupid, but I think I know better than try to separate a Dalish hunter from their weapon. But I think I do, like, want to just have a conversation with him.
No, role play it out for me. Tell me what happens when you approach him and you're on the boat together. Let's say you're out on the deck.
I come over to him and I punch him on the shoulder and say, "How's it going?"
You know, about as good as can be expected. Which is to say not super great, but I'm managing.
I mean, what else is new?
I do have a demon inside me.
Yeah. Life is hard.
He's apparently an ancient... Oh, I can't talk about this. What's up, brother?
I, like, stare awkwardly out at the sea. It's like a good 35 seconds, 40 seconds. And then I, like, turn to him. "You're not gonna like this."
He says, "Alright.
I need you to stand down the next time there's a fight with Darkspawn."
You realize I'm a Grey Warden, right? Killing Darkspawn is kind of the only thing we're good at.
I literally just said you wouldn't like this.
He says, and I mean, I guess I have some warning time because I can sense when they're coming, but, like, can't I just, like, keep a distance? Like,
No.
I have a bow, I've got your Tonadol.
That it didn't work out well last time, did it?
Well, I'll stay further.
No. Ren.
I don't know how to not shoot things. It's
Ren,
the
it's-
only thing I'm good at.
It's not the only thing you're good at.
Okay, I am also pretty good with Hala. But we don't have any hollow right now, do we?
No, we don't. Ren, it's not about how good you are. Of course you're good. You're the fucking hero of Ferelden.
Don't you fucking start.
Look, I don't like it as much as you do. It's noxious as fuck. But it's not about you. It's about the people around you.
He gets very sulky.
What if you hurt Cassandra? What if you hurt Elian? What if you hurt Zevran? He's not here, but that's not the point.
Well, I should point out that Zevran can absolutely defend himself against me if he needs to.
That's not the point.
Zevran could and would kick my ass.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that.
It's foreplay.
Other people can't.
He sighs. He does not look happy about this. He kind of rubs his forehead. He's like, no, I mean, you're not wrong.
That's a great way of saying that you're right. Refusing to admit.
Fine. If I sense Darkspawn, I'll warn you, and I don't know.
Run away?
Sit it out.
Sit it out sounds much better.
Sit it out until they're dead.
I punch him hard in the shoulder again. I knew you had it in you, brother.
So when were you going to tell me that you fucked Lannon, huh?
Oh, God, I just... it's not any... Who told you?
Zevran.
Fuck. I'm gonna beat him up.
Yeah, good luck with that.
It's been a busy day, okay? Ren, it's been a busy couple days. I haven't had time to do anything, and nothing's...
Okay, get your panties untwisted, little brother. I get it, it's new, you don't want to talk about it yet, things are still fragile, just one question. Just the one, and then you can go stomp off.
I don't stomp.
You definitely...
You told me.
Do you think this is going to be something serious?
I look at you in horror. And then I just walk away.
He's like, I'm going to assume that's a yes.
I flip him off behind my back.
That's definitely a yes. So Denerim. Denerim is... Well, it's big. By size, it is larger than, for instance, Valroyo. But it... Like, the first thing you smell when you pull up into the docks once the scent of seawater fades is shit. It smells like shit. It smells like literal shit. Like rotting fish and human shit. It is impressive by structure. Like, there's an enormous castle that is looming out over the horizon. You arrive just around sundown. And the streets are starting to empty out, but it is still quite crowded, and like you might literally be walking on shit because the ground is like an indistinct brown muck.
Oh.
It might literally just be shit covering the ground by the smell. But you head out of the harbor, you pass the alienage along the way. Every city has an alienage. Yariel, you would... Well, I mean, actually, the only one who wouldn't know about alienages is Cassandra, because
right.
You've never really been to a southern city like this.
Nope, absolutely not.
An alienage it's basically the ghetto, the elven ghetto. It's where all the elves live, and traditionally there's like a big Venedal, which is it's kind of Dalish. It's not really a Dalish thing. Like, the Dalish do plant trees, but they're for like funerals and stuff. But the elves and the alienage don't really understand Dalish culture very well, so they just kind of plant a tree and they decorate it, and they're like, that's what elves do. They plant trees. That's all that they really have of their culture now. Is a thing. They like trees, so they got a big one in the alienage. And you can see the Venedal looming over the houses that separate the elven quarter from the market district. And as soon as you get into this big market district, the sprawling area full of vendors, Ren's like, man, the smell has not improved since the last time I was here.
Oh god, I'm not the only one that's noticed it. Elliot's having such a hard time with this.
Cass is just looking at the tree like, it's pretty. Like, my heart's kind of dead right now.
The Venedals are very nice to look at, but understandably, Cassandra might be a little distracted.
A little bit.
As he's guiding you through the city, Ren is saying, like, I'm trying to, like, think of what you need to know about dealing with Alistair. Honestly, he's not hard to get along with. He's a good guy. He'll take what you say seriously. Just, I don't know how much he's changed is the thing. Like, I haven't seen him in 15 years. What if he's, like, really up his own butt about being king?
Does that sound like him?
I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen him in 15 years. Like, he did not want to be king. I kind of had to, like, twist his arm behind his back and force him onto the throne.
Well, you read his letter. What did he sound like?
Well, he still sounded sort of like a golden retriever.
The what?
He says, look, it'll make sense when you meet him. He's basically a Mabari in human form.
That sounds scary.
Like, at the same time that you say scary, like, Cass says, that sounds adorable.
Elian also likes this idea. Elian likes Mabari.
And he says, I don't know, I mean, like I said, he should be easy to get along with. Hopefully being king hasn't changed him too much. I guess we'll all fucking see, won't we? We'll see if the great Alistair Theron has changed it all. You make your way across the market district, up toward the Palace of Denerim proper. Like, there are a couple different castles there that belong to the Arls of various Arlings around Ferelden, but, like, the Denerim Palace proper finally stops smelling like shit. Like, once you get into Denerim's palace. And so there's 2 guards that are posted outside the main entryway leading into the largest thoroughfare in the Denerim Palace. And they say, yes, what is your business in the castle? And everyone's like, oh, I'm here to see your King Alistair. And they sort of stare at him in wordless silence like, I'm sorry, sir, but the king doesn't take petitioners. I'm not a petitioner, dude. We're old friends. And the guard's like, right. Got it.
He's the hero of Ferelden.
Right, and I'm the Queen of Antiva.
You don't look like the Queen of Antiva. Would you just tell Alistair we're here?
Just tell King Alistair that Ren's here, and I guess we'll just, I don't know, wait here for you to do that. And the 2 guards spend a minute talking to each other, and you can hear the discussion going on, like, this guy's obviously full of shit. Like, but yeah, there's like a 1% chance that he's not. What ends up happening is one of the guards is like, all right, stay here. I will take your petition to the royal vizier to see if we can get you audience with the king. Don't be too disappointed if it comes back with a no. All right. And it's like, okay, buddy, see you soon. And you spend a very amusing, like, just 10 minutes waiting on the drawbridge over the moat leading into the palace.
Like trying to skip stones off the...
Yeah, just killing time, making small talk. Landon is still with you. He is more than willing to let you play the I'm famous card for once.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you go ahead and do that. For all you know, I'm just Joe Schmo from nowhere. That's fine.
Did the one who left, was he the one who said he was the Queen of Antiva?
Yes, he was.
I turned to the other guard and I'm like, so the Queen of Antiva, really? That must be tough.
He rolls his eyes very hard at you.
Roll them back.
I'm just like, Yariel, stop antagonizing the guards.
Eventually, you hear from inside a door bang open. Like, seriously, like, clatter hard against a stone wall. And a very distressed-looking functionary comes skittering into view, sees Ren, and whirls on the guard that had been following her. She's like, did you not get the memo? Did you not get the memo? We sent out memos! And the guard's like, I didn't know he was an elf! Oh my god! And the functionary immediately, like, hurries up toward the 6 of you and says, I am so sorry. My name is Elier. I am very, very sorry about the way these brutes have treated you. Honored guests of King Alistair, please come in right this way, please. And she's, like, showing you inside.
I just, like, look at everyone and I'm like, there was a memo.
I make faces at the one guard as I walk through the door.
Oh, the guard looks contrite. He looks like he just stepped in it.
Lol.
And all the way into the palace, the functionary Elier is just like, again, cannot apologize enough. I will take you straight to see the king. He asked to have you shown into the royal quarters just the second you arrived. How was your journey to Denerim? It was fine, I hope?
It was great. It involved a lot of boats, which we know honestly could have been avoided, but...
You haven't really... I think it's been 15 years. You guys haven't improved the smell here at all, have you?
Elian's just glad he's not the one commenting on the smell.
So you make it into what the functionary termed the royal quarters. She knocks very urgently, like, on the door, and it takes a couple of minutes, but eventually another functionary opens the door. She says, "Yes, what is it?" She says, He's here, the hero Ferelden's here." Oh shit, and then you can hear whisper, like they're desperately whispering, it's like, "We weren't expecting him for another hour, I don't know." And then from behind, like, "Is that him?" And the door bangs open because so Alistair, let me see if I can get a picture of Alistair, actually.
Oh, God.
Alistair Theron. And his eyes immediately land on Ren, and, like, there's, like, a lot of stuff happens on both their faces because, there's a lot of history there. They were comrades in arms, and then one of them literally died. So there's a lot going on, but eventually it evens out to Alistair beaming brightly. He says, I can't believe it. And he immediately goes over and he, like, picks Ren up in, like, this enormous bear hug.
Aww.
He is, like, a foot taller than Ren.
Yeah.
He is huge. And Ren just kind of laughs. He's like, "Okay, crushing my ribcage. Thanks. Good to see you too, buddy." And Alistair drops, like, "I can't believe you're alive. When I got your letter, come in. And he immediately ushers all of you in. The royal quarters are... So you're used to, like, Minrathis decor by now. And Minrathis goes hard on interior decorating.
Yeah.
Ferelden doesn't do that.
Yep.
Ferelden is very function over form. Like, there are tapestries. They were obviously gifted to some dead king because they're not very well tended to. They're just sort of there to fill space. The bed is fine. It's not especially decadent. It's just a bed. It's functional. And there's a little table where he had been eating dinner, and he says, "Please sit down, all of you. It is amazing to see you again, Ren. You're gonna have to tell me the whole story about how you survived. I'm still having trouble wrapping my head around it." Ren says, "Yeah, no, same. But I don't know any of your companions. Who are you?"
Yeah, I just look at Elliot expectantly, like, "All right, human, do your thing."
Oh god, okay. I'm Elian Bayard, Your Majesty, a bard out of Falrio.
Ah, you're Orlesian.
Yes.
Wonderful. I'm being sarcastic. It's actually quite inconvenient, especially given the political tensions. I'm not holding it against you personally. I have met many Orlesians. I have nothing against them, but
I grew up on the border, if that makes it better.
not really. You're still going to be Orlesian to everyone here.
Yeah, my plan is to mostly keep my mouth shut. But let me just introduce the others real quick.
Yes, who is this? Gestures to Cassandra.
This is Cassandra. She's a mage out of Kunandar.
I'm guessing Telvishoth?
Yes.
Obviously.
Well, it's very good to meet you. I haven't known too many Kunari, but those that I have met have been very honorable.
That's an interesting statement to say to her. She's like, "Ah." And then, like, doesn't know, like, what, like, just looks at his hand like, "Am I supposed to shake it, Elian?"
I mean, is he offering it as a shake or just a gesture to her?
It looks like he's holding it as his hand to shake it, yeah.
Okay, and I just, like, nod at Elian, like, "Yeah, okay," and, like, shake his hand, like, "Sure."
He seems very amused by your, clumsiness. Not the least bit offended. Alistair is not going to get offended over improper etiquette. He is the last person who gives a fuck. He says, "Yes. During the 5th Blight, I actually spent some time traveling with a Kunari." And Ren's like, "Yeah, Ian, well, funny story about that."
I heard about that, yes.
Yes, Steno was his name. I'm not just gonna assume that you know him. And Ren's like, "Funny story about that."
And I was like, "I do know him, actually. But it is a funny story for later that we are absolutely not going to talk about right now."
He's like, "Oh, all right, well, okay, sure. And what about you?" "Oh, another Dalish."
Oh, I'm Ren's brother.
"You're Yariel?"
What?
He talked about you all the time. And Ren's like, "No, don't tell him that."
What? I look at Ren.
"He talked about you constantly, you and the clan. He was so proud of you. He was talking about how you were going to get your, what's you call the blood writing. Ren's like, "Don't, Alistair, I swear to fucking God."
I'm like looking in horror between the two of them, like, "I'm sorry, what? What?"
Says, "Oh yeah, he was such a big brother. He was always talking about you."
I have like this enormous shit-eating grin on my face.
I was like, "Oh, Alistair, why? Why did you do this, Alistair?"
"Oh, I'm sorry, Ren. Do you like me or something?"
Listen, You were barely 14 when I left, and I was just worried about whether or not you were going to survive, because you're so useless and dumb.
You sure is not what it sounds like. It doesn't sound like you thought I was useless and dumb. Right, Alistair?
Alistair's like, I mean, he did talk about you quite a lot. It's like, Alistair, you're a fucking traitor.
I step forward with a grin. I'm like, it's a true pleasure to meet you, Alistair. We're gonna have to talk more sometime.
He says, honestly, I would love that. I hope I've improved relations with the Dalish and Ferelden as much as I have been able to, The memory of your brother left a huge impression on everyone, and I did what I could, but, your people are quite reasonably secretive, and it's been difficult trying to reach out to them for diplomatic liaison, and also I'm not good at diplomacy, just generally speaking.
That's so many words. I'm just sort of looking at him well, they're grateful. I think everyone has been very grateful for what has been given to us, given back.
And Elsa says, well, I certainly hope so. I've done what I can. And, before I forget! And then he very abruptly stands up and he, runs out of the room. Just full-on sprints out of the room.
I was, literally just about to try to introduce Landon, but no, okay.
Yeah, Landon's perfectly fine. He doesn't need to be introduced. He's fine.
Yeah.
Red's like, okay, well... And so he's gone for a full 2 minutes, of just an empty, silent room. And eventually Ren's like, so, how you guys doing? Good.
He just left.
Yeah, he does that. He's just kind of like that.
Does he come back?
Yeah, he does. He's just distractible is the thing.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like a good quality for a king.
And so, again, full 2 minutes of his absence. And then suddenly the door bangs open again. And he says, Ren, you're not going to believe this. And following in behind him is an aging Mabari hound. And Ren immediately, his entire body lurches. He's like, Fenny? And he immediately crouches down to the ground, and this poor aging dog, this dog is almost 20 years old now.
Oh, no.
But he sees Ren, and he hurries as best his aging body can across the floor, and he puts both paws on Ren's shoulder. He's like, oh my god, Fenner, I can't believe you. And he immediately hugs the dog. He is full on sobbing.
Oh.
I'm looking around in bewilderment and the rest of my crew, what is going on?
Clearly he bonded with a Mabari.
Alistair says, I remember one of the last things you said to me, my friend, before you killed that archdemon was that you wanted me to take care of him, so I did. I did the best I can. He's had a good life here. And he can't even speak. He's so distraught seeing this dog again.
Alistair falls into the category of people I like now.
Yeah.
Alistair, it's really hard not to like Alistair.
I just lean over and whispered to Yario, that dog is so old.
I know. It's gonna die any minute now.
And then I get real sad.
You're so bad at this.
Alistair, he's gonna give Ren a minute. Even he's looking a little teary-eyed. He's like, oh god, I'm sorry, I completely forgot. Who are you? And it's like, I'm Lennon High. We met once. It's like, oh right! Redcliffe Castle, right, with the Magister who tried to destroy the fabric of time. Yeah, that was me. Good to see you again. Alistair's like, well, better than last time, that's for sure. How's the Inquisition? Oh, it's disbanded now. Oh, okay.
Good talk.
And this is Talget.
Talgan says, pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty. He's like, you don't have to do that. It's fine, no one's looking. Alistair is fine when no one's looking, it's alright. Were you born in Orzammar? Are you from the surface? It's like, no, I was born in Orzammar, but noble politics. Family got erased from the memories, so... Alistair's like, yeah. I've been trying to open up negotiations with Orzammar. It's going middlingly well. You probably don't care, you're a surfacer now. Anyway, Alistair is such a fucking tryhard. He's such a tryhard.
I feel like the best way to have this is that we're all just sort of sitting there awkwardly while Ren cries over this dog.
Right?
Yeah, and like clearly Ren was not expecting to see Fenrirel again. Like it's been 15 years. He thought this dog was dead, but eventually, like Ren's like trying to gather himself together. Like this is wonderful, but he needs to get his shit back together. So he, sits back down on like an actual chair, and Fenrirel just sort of rests his head on Ren's leg and just stares up at him adoringly, like dogs do.
I love that.
And Ren says, thank you, Alistair. I can't believe he's still alive. And he says, I almost feel bad with the horrible news. And Alistair says, No, I read your letter. The Blight. Another one so soon, you're sure?
We're sure.
We wish we weren't.
Ren says, they saw an archdemon fly out of a cave near Manrathis. And Alistair kind of sits back heavily in his chair. He's like, oh, shit.
I'm like looking around awkwardly, like, who's gonna say it?
Should not be Yariel, ever.
Should not, no.
I think I like look pointedly at Elian, like, if you don't say it, I'll say it.
Okay. We know it's a big ask, but we could use all the help we can get with the fight against it.
He looks at you, then at Ren, then at you, and says, "Oh, you Ferelden troops? You're asking for Ferelden troops? Well, I mean, all you have to do is conscript us, and we legally can't say no."
Yeah.
Ren's like, "Yeah, about that, Alistair."
The wardens have been disbanded.
I'm sorry, what?
They were keeping Ren in a dungeon. There were multiple doors down there. I think they have known what happens with the archdemons. There's all sorts of horrible things they were doing.
Blood magic is not even the worst of it.
Ren says, that's how I survived. None of them ever died, Alistair. They just became possessed. And Alistair suddenly is looking at Ren a little differently. He's like, so you've still got the spirit of Arthemiel inside you? Ren's like, I can control them. Mostly. I can mostly control them. There a couple times. It's fine. Alistair's fine. Alistair's starting to panic a little.
Right.
Like, it's fine. Alistair, it's fine. I've got them mostly under control. I just have to stay around people and places and things that I'm familiar with, and it's easier. But sometimes they do get out, and I think that's why they had me imprisoned. And Alistair sits back again, trying to, like, digest all this information. Says, Don't misunderstand me. I want to help. There's nothing I want more than to help. I may have left the Grey Wardens, but the taint still runs in my blood, and I still hate the Blight as much as anyone, but I can't... We might be at the edge of war with Orlais?
Oh, good.
See, there's sort of a dispute going on. Obviously, Alistair is not very good at explaining this kind of thing. So I after the Inquisition was disbanded, questions were raised about what to be done with Skyhold. And Lannon's like, wait, what do you mean, what to be done with Skyhold? What is there to do with it? He says, well, that's the thing. That's the disagreement that's sparked this whole thing. Orlais wants to turn it into a holy site, a site of pilgrimage, and Ferelden is of the opinion that it should just be left as a war monument. Like something to honor that was lost in the fight against Corypheus. He says, and normally this is nothing, right? Like, it doesn't even matter. Either way, a nice statue gets put up or something, and there's a plaque, but because of our nation's tense histories, it has sort of spiraled out of control. And things that should not have mattered in the least are now... I've been getting threats from Orlais, and the Empress has... your worship, ever since your worship ended the civil war, Celine has been sort of backed into a corner. She needs the military on her side, and she is thinking that Ferelden is the perfect target to take it out on. And it's like, this is all because you don't know what to fucking do with Skyhold?
Human politics.
Oh my god.
Alistair says it's in the middle of the Frostback Mountains. It is right on the line between Ferelden and Olay. So theoretically, both countries should have some sort of claim to it, and it was the argument that precipitated everything, and we might be on the cusp of war. He, shrugs, whoops.
Over a hunk of stone? Oh, humans.
I'm with you. This is idiotic.
I just look at, yeah, exactly. I look at the elves are you kidding me? They're fighting over rock? A bunch of rocks put together into a fortress? What fucking idiots.
I just shake my head. Shemlin are at it again.
And Alistair's and I completely agree. I cannot overstate how unbelievably stupid this is. But I can't afford not to take it seriously, because the Orlesian armies, the Chevaliers outnumber us about 3-1, and if they did decide to invade over this, Ferelden would be under another Orlesian occupation?
I'm gonna turn to Lannon and Ellie, and I think it'd be do we know anybody that could talk some sense into these idiots?
Lannon is sitting there oh my god, I thought I was done with this shit. I thought I was out!
Are you saying if you weren't at the cusp of war, you'd be willing to promise troops to us to help with the Blight?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
If I didn't have to have all of Ferelden's troops in reserve for this stupid political bullshit, I would send every single soldier I have north into Deventer. No question. But I can't gamble the lives of every Ferelden citizen on it. Not as things are now, shaky politically.
So we need to solve this first. I turn back to Lannon again.
Lannon has his head on the table. When does it stop? When do the politics stop?
They never stop, Lannon. Not until you're dead. Get up.
Lannon's he says, I negotiated peace. I forced the 3 parties in the Orlesian Civil War to come to a truce. And Alistair's well, yeah, that's the thing. Since you didn't kill Gaspard, he's just sort of hanging like the sword of Damocles over this whole situation. The rightful heir who should be king, who isn't king, and the Chevaliers are still sort of loyal to him, but Celine is desperately trying to win them back to her side to regain Olay's military might, and the whole thing is just a clusterfuck, honestly, and if you guys could help me solve it, I would be extremely grateful.
Well, we didn't think this was going to be easy.
You're the king of Ferelden. What could we possibly do?
He says, well, that's the thing. I am the king of Ferelden. I have to have a very strict negotiating position, but you guys are wild cards. You could go in there, and Ren's holds up hands say no more. Just like we did in the old days. Knock heads together until one of them finally does something.
Oh god.
I put an arm around Red's shoulder, this is why we're brothers.
It's sounds just like Orzammar. It's and he turns to you, Uriel's sometime I will tell you about the bullshit I had to do in Orzammar.
I can't wait, as long as it's not about your sex life.
And that seems to remind Alistair, by the way, how is Zevran? I heard he was with you in Menrathis. And Ren's yeah, he's doing well. And as they are talking, the functionary that let you into the castle sort of waves at Lannon, and Lannon, he looks so tired. He's ugh. And he looks at the rest of you, he's I'm not doing this alone. You're coming with me.
Okay.
Sure.
I had to be dragged into every boring political situation, kicking and screaming. I am not doing this again, not without backup.
Okay.
Fine, you big baby. And I get up and follow him.
Oh, I'm sorry, do you want to do the politics?
I'm great at politics.
You absolutely
No.
are not. Oh, yeah.
So the functionary calls you all over while Alistair and Ren and Fenrirel, to a lesser extent, catch up. And she speaks with you just outside the door, and she says, I'm not guessing, I overheard. You're gonna be helping King Alistair with the Skyhold situation?
Trying to.
I don't think we have much of a choice, so...
Right. It seems like we were conscripted against our will, but yes.
She says, oh, it is so good to hear that. You cannot understand how vexing this whole situation has been. Those Orlesians, so stubborn and prone to violence. We're really hoping to settle this peacefully, if at all possible.
A snicker at Ellie.
Yeah.
Oh, he's biting his tongue.
They are very difficult. It's a good point. You make a great point.
Glare daggers at Sabret.
I'm just staring at both of you oh, guys, stop it.
So she says, so, like I said, we are hoping to resolve this peacefully, if that's at all possible. And Lennon says, why Skyhold? Why are you fighting over Skyhold? There's nothing in it anymore. The Inquisition's gone. And the functionary says, well, yes, we know, but it's, there were people who are calling you the Herald of Andraste, sent by the Maker himself, and people want to turn it into a religious site, or at least the Legions do. They want to turn it into a place of pilgrimage, and Ferelden just want it to be a war memorial, and, now we're at the brink of war. That's how it works. But it's like, okay, I mean, if I just declare it to be one or the other, will that resolve tensions?
I just kind of look at him like, seriously, when has that ever stopped an Orlesian?
It's like, okay, yeah, that's fair. I mean, what if we just kowtow to what the Orlesians want then? What if I just agree to make it a religious site? She says, well, you can't do that! Why not? It doesn't matter. And she says, well, of course it matters. All the Arls and all the Tairns of Ferelden are wanting to put up a war memorial there to honor the people that we lost. We have to make it a war memorial. And Lena's like, but you just said it doesn't matter.
Right.
You just said it doesn't matter.
Oh, humans.
She says, it doesn't matter, but we really should make it a war memorial, because if we don't, the Landsmeet will fall into complete chaos. And Lena's like, so it does matter. No, it doesn't matter, but it matters.
What?
Why can't we have both?
She says, you can't have a war memorial at the same place of a religious site.
Why not?
Why not?
Because the Orlesians want it to be a religious site. We can't do that. If we concede even a little bit to the Orlesians, every single Arl and Tairn of Ferelden is going to be in opposition to it, and then we'll have no choice but to go to war.
You don't believe in compromise in Ferelden?
With Orlesians.
Yes, that's the thing. We do try to compromise, but with Orlesians, we've got kind of a rocky history. They occupied us for over a century.
That does sound unpleasant.
He says, and most of the Arls were alive during the Orlesian occupation, and they are reasonably worried that if we give an inch, they'll take a mile.
I think I turn to Elian and I'm like, do you think the Orlesians are going to feel the exact same way?
Probably.
Lennon says, all right, what can we do? How can we help? And she says, well, there's going to be a diplomatic summit at Skyhold 2 days from now, and we, of course, would be honored to have the Inquisitor and the hero Ferelden in attendance. Lennon's like, all right, fine. Diplomatic meeting in Skyhold, a place I never thought I'd have to go to again. She's like, wonderful! I'll have you all set up in guest quarters. And then she immediately leaves.
I'm like looking at Landon and I'm like, I think you might be right. This sounds terrible.
I am also looking at Landon like, I'm beginning to see why you don't want to be involved in politics. It does. Exactly, Ariel. Sounds terrible.
Don't get me wrong, I don't regret my time as Inquisitor. What we did was vital and it was necessary, but God, I wanted it to be done. I wanted it to be over.
I hate agreeing with Yariel again, but once you're in the game, it's kind of with you.
Do you have any political pull, Alien? I mean, you're a Legion. You know people there. You probably know everyone.
You're a Legion, so I assume you know the Empress personally.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you crazy?
I'm staring at you blankly.
He's an idiot, Elian.
I was part in training. I was a trainee.
So you're saying you don't know the Empress okay.
No!
Well, that's not very helpful.
Lennon says, do we have an idea of how we're going to fix this? Usually, my method when I was trapped in political bullshit like this was to... Well, Josephine called it the pullover, because you would pull the wool over their eyes, make them both agree to something and make them think it was their idea.
But how?
Lennon says, God, I wish Josephine were here. She was always so much better at this shit than me. And he says, okay, well, we're not going to be leaving until tomorrow, so I guess...
Some time to think.
Talgan was set up in a room pretty much identical to everyone else's. It has a slightly different brown tapestry on the wall.
Ooh, enthralling.
And the window is on the north side instead of the west side. Amazing. And when you knock, he says, yep, come in.
Hi, it's me.
Yeah, what's up?
Just, checking in, seeing how you're doing.
Well, we're in a royal court of Ferelden. No one ever really been to Ferelden before. Not a fan of it so far.
I did find this. I hold up a jar of wine that I had found.
Hey, the bard pulls through. And he immediately, kicks out a seat for you.
I take it happily and pour us both a glass. I mean, I don't think it'll be any good, but it's wine.
I've never tasted Ferelden wine.
Probably won't have anything on the Dalish wine.
Can you even grow grapes this far south? I bet he's eager to find out. So you sample it. It's not great. It's not great. It's very. You think they actually didn't make this with grapes. You think it's made with blackberries. It's kind of bitter. It's very dark, but it's alcoholic. So
Could be worse.
Talga says, I suppose it could be.
Be a lot better, but it could be worse. Look, I'm not gonna pussyfoot around it. You're not at all thrilled with us right now, are you?
Says, thrilled about going back to Orzammar? Nope, not super thrilled.
Sorry, we couldn't think of any other option.
He sighs, I'm not an option. They're not going to respect me. They're not going to assume I have some right to be there. I'm a surfacer. I'll be on the exact same level as you.
Guess I don't know enough about any of it at all.
I don't know much about it either. I left Orzammar when I was barely 8. I hardly even remember the city.
Do you really think you'll be that much of a hindrance?
He says, I don't know. I mean, from everything I've heard about this King Balin, he's a dick, but he's a dick who won't kick me out just for being a surfacer, so we've got that going for us.
I mean, aside from the joyful Mambari that we have here, apparently, most royals are not particularly.
Yeah. You can't have that much power and not be a tool, apparently.
True.
I'm not thrilled with it, but, I'm already here.
We do appreciate it that you would still come. I do, at least. We could have used you in that last fight.
Yeah, that sounds like it was rough. Honestly, kind of glad I missed it.
I would have given anything to have missed it. Yeah, maybe there'll be some fights that we could get into. Maybe not starting fights, but
Maker, I hope so. Because otherwise it's just going to be more politics.
Oh god, I know. I'm coming to realize I'm not as good at them as I thought I was.
Says, you're talking politics? You don't think you're good at politics?
I don't know.
I thought that was all our legions cared about. That and, sex and wine.
Oh, anything's better than this.
Wasn't this what you were training to do?
Yeah. I don't know, it's just so dumb when I was starting all of this. I mean, as a kid, you grow up thinking things are going to be one way, and then it's just one setup later, and you're nothing.
I thought you had that whole thing about wanting to go home. The whole talking to the divine and getting to the bottom of this. What was the thing you said it was called? The dissonance, right?
Yeah.
Getting to the bottom of the dissonance so you can go home. What are you going to do if you can go home but you don't want to do politics?
I don't know. That's the problem.
Hey, Lan and I are going for a drink. What are you doing?
I'm staring out the window and crying. What does it look like?
That is what it looks like. So that's fair. Why?
There's a brief moment where she looks at you like, I'm going to kill you, for half a second.
Oh, you're still on that. I come and sit down heavily next to you.
Still, yes. My Kadan, my heart, has no will to live. Yes, I am still on it, and I will be on it for a while.
I look at her kind of concerned. Have you not talked to her yet? I thought you had fixed it already.
When did I have time? We left immediately. We had meetings. There was no time, Yariel.
I suppose that's true.
She's tired after everything, and not just tired because she's sick. She's tired of being alive.
She's been through a lot.
She has, and I wish she knew how much I would go through for her.
Have you tried telling her?
I did. I tried talking about the future that I saw in the Fade. It wasn't just the sex, Yariel. There were amazing things that I was tempted with. I had... Oh, this is going to go over your head. You're so stupid.
I look offended.
Where I come from, there's not one power. That it's shared amongst 3 people. And, the military, it's fine. I don't have to get into the details of it. It's boring anyway, but I was one of those 3 in my dream. Along with my... It looks like she's going to say father, but then she stops and she's like, the Arishok.
I do not pick up on this.
Right, of course. You're an idiot, right. Along with the Arishok, I was a raccoon. I had the power to change everything that I ran away from in the Cune. That is what I want. And May was right there with me. I want that to be real.
That sounds like a lovely future, Cass.
Yeah. But when I tried to bring it up, all she talked about was me training to be a healer, to take over her legacy, to live on after she's gone, as though I can live without her.
You have to find a way to make her see the future, bring back the hope to her. She's lived with it for so long, Cass. But if anybody can do it, it's you.
I hope you're right, because I know what she says to me is because she's been in my position. She's had to live when her husband died. I know that's where she's coming from, but the irony is not lost on me that I have a spirit called faith, a soul called faith in me, and I myself don't have any faith.
You need to find it for her, then. And find it for yourself, Cass. You have a family now.
That's the thing. I have to find it for myself first before I can even begin to help May.
You head out of Denerim the next morning for this big summit that's apparently going on at Skyhold. You are accompanied by Alistair and Ren. The whole party is going with you. Lennon is leading the way, because after, 3 years of the Inquisition, he is extremely familiar with Ferelden, and he knows exactly the right path to take to get to Skyhold without completely killing your legs, because it is in the mountains. Skyhold is this beautiful, massive castle with a huge drawbridge connecting the entrance into the main courtyard of the building. It still holds the flag of the Inquisition flying high above it. And Lennon steps through the end of this drawbridge, and even though it has officially been abandoned, there are still people everywhere, mostly religious pilgrims. You can tell immediately. Most of them are like Chantry sisters. They're wearing the red and white Chantry robes, and they're crossing through the courtyard, tending to the gardens, and restoring it as best that they can. And Lennon, he's kind of stricken by the sight of it. He was not expecting to ever come here again, let alone find it occupied. He takes this long set of stairs leading up to the main bailey of the castle, and he sees a statue at the very far end where he knows his throne used to be. So this statue, it takes you a minute to even recognize that it is a statue of Lennon, because conveniently, his ears are covered by his hair, and instead of holding a staff, he's holding a sword. And most gallingly, the left hand that used to bear the anchor, the magical mark that let him seal those rifts, instead, it is carved as an Andrastian sun.
Oh.
So Lennon kind of stands at the end of the main bailey and just stares at it. And he, clearly he absolutely hates this. They didn't even bother depicting him as an elf. They didn't even bother depicting him as a mage.
I come up next to him, and the guy just sort of squeeze his shoulder, and I'm like, I think I might be starting to get it.
I fucking hate this. Hey friends, Tessa here. If you're desperate to hear the next episode, chances are good that you can by joining our Discord server. We post links to all episodes in pre-release, and you can even chat with us and listen live as we record. Join us by going to bit.ly/cfcdiscord. For more information on the show, character biographies, and links to social media, head to our website, critfail.club or critfailclub.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. Crit Fail Club does not advertise at all, so if you like what you hear, tell a friend who might also like it, make a post on social media about it, or leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Full episodes are available on our YouTube channel, bit.ly/cfcchannel, or wherever you get your podcasts.